Welcome to another program. This week we would like to again start with the recent development that happened last week. Now we will start with Saudi Arabia. As you know, Saudi Arabia is one of the oil exporter countries in the world. They are rich in oil. However, we have seen indication of economy is not getting better. The consumer price index falls by 2.2% on year-to-year basis in February. And then now we are looking at why it is happening, because the number of tax payers in the countries is decreasing, as well as the higher taxes causes these events. Now, since it is the result or outcome of the all these developments, we are now having a view of the economic program that has been implemented in Saudi Arabia is getting better or not. In our view, we are not seeing the outcome of it, although they want to spend and they want to take a loan for these development projects in future. They are not doing well, which is an indication of a bad economy in future in our expectation. Now, the other development is one of my favorite president in the world is Lopez Obrador. He used to cut off new mining concessions, which is giving some concerns to the investors in the country, the foreign investors especially. Now, unlike the energy projects, these new mining concessions cause some problems, especially about the environment and the health of populace. That's why we will see how this is going to get better for the country. But we expect that President Obrador, I will say, populist politics will remain intact. Something about Brazil, and interesting, Huawei equipment maybe pose a security risk to Brazilian government. Now they want to sell the equipments for 5G, especially internet issues. However, the problem is that U.S. government has given a report to Brazilian government indicating that they might all these Huawei equipments might pose a security risk for their intelligence. Now we are seeing two things. One of them is Brazil is now reluctant to say yes or no, but for sure they are now investigating if it is true or not. The other thing is that U.S. has been imposing pressure not only within their companies, but also not Europe, but also in the now South America, such as Brazil, and we are going to see this kind of pressure to other countries in future about Chinese developments or like technological companies like Huawei and others. And that's important to note. Now we know that Egypt or the President Sisi has a good relation with the recent U.S. President Trump. However, Egypt has decided to buy 20 number of Su-35 air fighter from Russia. Now this is going to expose some risk to Egyptian politics due to the American, I would say, likely opposition. We are not very sure why they have decided to buy these air fighters from Russia. However, we are believing that U.S. administration is not going to oppose this. But the other important note to point out is that this also in incident shows how Russian policy makers are effective still in Middle East, and Russia cannot be avoided for that reasons. And that's important to note. Now, the other important note in the North Africa is Algeria. As you know, President Bouteflika has decided to withdraw from the fifth run of presidency, and now we have a new prime minister. before the new elections will take place in 2020. Now, recently, 6 labor unions has decided to decline a meeting with the new prime minister, which shows that the protesters are not in a path or not aligned to wait for President Bouteflika for another year to be in the office. They want him to withdraw from the office with effective as of now, if possible. Now, this is very important that the protesters are demanding this and they are not giving up their demands, but also it is important to state that ExxonMobil, which is an American company, has recently announced that they are going to at least stop the shale gas project in unheld development area due to the political instability in Algeria. Now we have been seeing in Algeria how the people are not happy with the administration, but now this the instability in the country becomes a concern to the foreign investors, which is a great negative impact on Algerian economy. We are going to monitor how this is going to affect in future. UK, well, when you are considering the UK history, I can see only the first time that they are really in blank, I would say, what to do with the Brexit. They have voted to leave the EU bloc, and they have voted not to agree with the, let's say, the memorandum that Prime Minister May has done with the EU leadership. And also the latest parliament vote has suggested that now, since they have also rejected the deal with the EU, they cannot bring the same one on the table again. So now Prime Minister May has left no choice but to go and ask for extension for Brexit. Now, since this is going to take place, and we know it's going to take place effective, we will see how the EU leadership will approach this. Most likely they will say yes to some extent, but it is really interesting to see how UK has not decided their path yet. Since the EU leadership has the upper hand in these negotiations, we believe that UK economy is going to meet with some negative impact in future because they don't know what to do. In our opinion, there is a great likelihood that there will be no deal between two sides, and the UK will leave the bloc without a deal. Because the best deal that they have cut is this one, and we don't believe that they can cut another good deal better than that. Pakistan. Now, the Pakistan Foreign Minister visits China for the CPEC financing concerns. They want more money to come into the country, to be honest. Now the problem is that Pakistan has no money, foreign reserves, and they want this to happen, but they also want transparency in this one. Now the problem is transparency is a problem of Pakistan, and the policy leaders or the elites, they don't want to expose all these things to public because of the corruption. Now, while Pakistan has in need of foreign reserves, but however corruption is high there, we don't know how this is going to take place. The CPEC project, which is China-Pakistan Economic Window Program, is going to come from the Kashmir region to the Gwadar port, and all the roads and the railways and also the port will be under construction now. This is important for China, in line with also BRA, One Belt One Road initiatives, but it also shows that how Pakistan is still in, I would say, fragile economy status. 2 months ago, acting Prime Minister has asked IMF for some loan, but due to the high demands from the IMF side, he has declined this. Now he's trying to seek for foreign reserves, but with these conditions, it's not likely it will happen. We will see how this is going to also affect the Pakistan and the surroundings. The other issue is that but the president, or the ex-president, let's say, of Kazakhstan, Nursultan Nazarbayev, has resigned last week on Wednesday. Last week, and everybody was surprised. Now, in our projection, it's not a surprise. He was considering to do that, and in February he has already asked the parliament to the status of the presidency, if he can be allowed to resign. So all the signs were there, but nobody was in sharing his belief that he is going to do that. Now, why he has been doing this? Because he wants to he wants to transform the country from today to a future that he sees it's best for country's future. He wants to establish all the civil organizations. He wants to establish more democratic organizations and status with laws, and he's going to leave it afterwards. Why I'm saying he's going to leave afterwards? Because still he is in power of the National Security Council. So still he's in the politics, and he's the ultimate leader of the country. And we believe that what he has done is good for the country, because now he's going to see while he is in the power, and he can act in a corrective way that the democracy and the transition within the country will be handled as easy as it can be. These are all the, I believe, geopolitical events that take place last week. We think it's very important to inform you. Thank you for watching us.